Hey, what's up everybody? Rich Taylor of Bitjoin. I am in month 2 now. Actually, I'm in month 3 now, but here's the feedback from month 2 so far in the Making an Influencer series. So one of the first things that happened in the month of September 2019 was my Bitjoin account got banned from the subreddit buttcoin. So buttcoin was delivering pretty much 90% of the traffic to the videos Bitman360 was making, so it was a really good way to tap into an audience initially. However, it seems like they finally cottoned on to the fact that it's satire and I'm actually in the industry and what have you. I'm not sure exactly how, probably gave it away quite easily, but that saw a drastic reduction in traffic, so I ended up utilizing Twitter a little bit more. And through my activities on Twitter, DAP Radar reached out to me and they even shared some of the content around the Decentralize Me Too movement, which was pretty encouraging. They asked for me to DM them, got their email, reached out. Didn't maintain the character Bitman. I actually reached out as Bitjoin. Maybe I made a mistake there because nobody responded, and so that lead seems to have fizzled out, considering they wanted to do some sort of partnership and they digged some of the videos I've been making around dApps. The Decentralize Me Too campaign, I created I started an initiative a few months back before any of this began called notadap.com, and my aim there was to try to, there's a lot of applications out there claiming to be decentralized applications, dApps, and when you look strictly at the at those projects, it was clear that they weren't strictly speaking dApps. So created notadap.com, and part of my goal was to try to get people involved in a dedicated subreddit to list those applications out there, whether they're on EOS or Ethereum or whatever blockchain, sort of calling out those dApps that are not really strictly speaking dApps. Anyway, I decided to, as I didn't push that notadap.com project forward, I decided to couple Decentralize Me Too movement with those guys, partly to create an illusion of some sort of partnership and progress and what have you, and also to try to breathe some life into the notadap.com. So far that hasn't really come to fruition, but I think it's a interesting partnership that could be developed going forward. On Twitter, I dropped $100 on Twitter ads, specifically for a video I made on the Decentralize Me Too campaign, and that got some 8,000 views. A lot of, not a lot, but some comments, mostly enthusiastic, a couple of negative ones, and yeah, saw a small increase in follower numbers and conversation and what have you, but very marginal for that $100 that I spent. Had it been maybe $300 or $400, $500, perhaps there could have been, like, the Decentralize Me Too campaign maybe could have got a little bit more attention. I'm not sure. It's the first time using Twitter ads, to be fair, and there wasn't very many options when it came to targeting, but perhaps I'll revisit that approach in the future. Bitman360's Instagram account also got hit up by a fashion brand, and they were called Brute Impact, and they basically reached out on Instagram trying to get me to wear their clothes on Instagram, and they would share it to their 30,000 followers or what have you. I never followed up on that, but I had a bit of back and forth to see what the negotiations might look like, and as far as they would push it was 60% discount if I purchased some of their clothes, which I looked at some of the clothes and maybe some of it could have fitted the Bitman 360 vibe, but not really. So maybe a mis-targeting on their end, or, well, either way, someone somewhere thought Bitman 360 should be wearing Brute Impact fashion apparel, but anyway, I never followed up on that, and we'll see how that goes in terms of, you know, future collaborations with fashion brands. Who knows? This is part of the making an influencer journey, I guess. Found a lot of Twitter accounts. One guy found called Crypto Uslid. He's a podcaster, and I think, as I recall, he reached out very enthusiastic about my content. He was loving it, and him being sort of already established somewhat, kind of reinforced the fact that Bitman 360 has pretty much obtained attention from those working in the industry, or at least in the crypto influencer space, and that wasn't very difficult to do that, actually. Just being present, being part of the conversation on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. was enough to get the attention of those accounts. I wrapped up the AG Capital Extreme partnership because I wanted to see if I could develop an antagonist character that went against Bitman 360 in order to agitate, create more sort of conflict around the comments of the conversations. I can't say I followed through on that very much, apart from a few posts and a few videos addressing that fallout. However, I think it's good to have those conversations in public, and for others that are not familiar in the space to see how some of those partnerships devolve over time, all while trying to maintain a sort of satirical approach, which is repeatedly becoming a sort of issue, actually. Trying to remain satirical whilst delivering some sort of genuine value is tricky, to say the least, and I'm not sure if it's a great approach to actually try to do those two things, but in order to give Bitman 360 some validity in the space, he needed to deliver some sort of valuable content. So I'll keep walking that tightrope, and we'll see how it goes as we move forward. On reflection, listening to all the influencers is really depressing, to be honest. Most of them are trying to peddle some project, XRP, a lot of XRP shillers on YouTube, If I was a no-coiner entering the space, I'd probably turn my back on most of these accounts almost instantaneously if I wasn't working in the industry and familiar with some of the jargon, or, you know, easily wrapped up in FOMO. So of course, frequently now I'm getting this Frankenstein feeling where I am aware that I've created a character and he's out there now. It's whether or not he's going to become a monster or actually more of an asset. So it's just a frequent feeling I have. Obviously, I'm not alone in this. Whenever you put something out on the internet, you start to double think yourself. But I'm going to maintain and stick to the goals and the aims. And this, after all, this is a sort of investigative research effort, and I believe if anything, I will learn something. Hopefully others will too. So do a lot of reading, obviously, in this space and the comment sections and what have you, and it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on self-employment, self-empowerment, freedom. So a lot of the old financial freedom, trading, yada yada jargon is applied directly in the crypto space as well. So in that sense, the language is starting to cross over and whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing depends on how savvy an investor I guess you are. So, but it made me think about the space in general is often about getting rich, being self-sufficient, self-employed, freedom essentially. And it made me think, well, hang on, crypto, if I doubled down on Bitman 360's character as a sort of, gave him like a really strong identity, I think I will lean him furthermore into the philosophy of crypto as opposed to the projects and the trading. I think if he can apply some sort of philosophical approach to a project as he does an analysis, it could have a more, could end up reaching more people if we speak in those terms, more visionary if you like, as opposed to the standard invest here, earn this return, yada yada yada. I'm not sure the dApps are going to see any adoption in that regard. And it comes back to this idea of building a grassroots effort, Decentralize Me Too, and why that's important. And you'll see that in some of the more recent videos around like why decentralizing yourself is important and why you should value these things. And I think a lot of people do value them, but they just don't know in which direction to move. Crypto Twitter is fucking horrible, and I really feel real sorry for anybody trying to get involved I'm not even actually sure what these people are trying to achieve apart from attention. It's just a constant stream of absolute juvenile fucking nonsense, and of course Bitman 360 fits into that conversation quite well, and I'm sure it appeals to a certain demographic or age group or what have you, but and of course I'm restricted to English as well, so I don't know what's happening in other languages, but I'd like to burst out of that space because I don't think there's much to be gained there apart from just like trolling and being trolled and what have you. So I think I'll take a new strategy in the next month and start to enter other conversations within other industries and maybe focus more on the ethical, the data ethics stuff. This has been month 2 of making an influencer. I hope you're learning something. I'm certainly learning something, even though it's a slow process, and of course I am doing this very much as a side project. Appreciate you listening, and I'll see you next month.